So here we are being tourists in Sydney. Now Amanda's from Sydney and done all these things. In fact, not all of it, but most of it. But we're being tourists now that she lives in Brisbane, and obviously we both live here in Queensland. And we're doing this all via public transport. Now the public transport system is pretty good in Sydney. And we actually caught 7 different separate transports. And there is one of the more known views of Sydney. Look at that, the Harbour Bridge and the Opera House. And you'll see more of that as we go through this video. So we caught a bus first into the city, and then we jumped on this ferry. Now the ferry stops at Rose Bay here, and we stay on it, and then it goes through to Watson's Bay. Now that little area you can see there, that's Sharks Bay, and that's normally where we have Christmas, which is why we're in Sydney for Amanda's family, but they're actually doing work to it. So we walk up the stairs here in Watson's Bay, and this is looking out at the ocean. So to the left there is where the Sydney Harbour comes out into the ocean. So you can see North Head across there, and we're obviously on the south side. So now we're on our third bit of transport. We jump on this bus because we're on our way to Bondi Beach. So some of the views on the way through. And I'd never been to Bondi Beach. And I have to say it was a pretty cold day. It's summer here in Australia, but it was cold. And here's my attempt still of trying to do some pull-ups. I like to think I'll get strong one day, but anyway, let's see what happens with that. About the only time I took my jacket off. It was very windy and very wintry conditions, particularly for us Queenslanders. Now, this is where Bondi Rescue is filmed, and this is the lifeguard hut that you often see in the series, so it was kind of cool. And check out all this nice artwork that's painted everywhere through Bondi Beach. It's pretty nice. It's a pretty great place. We won't let the weather get us down. And now we're looking to the north from the south up Bondi. Now these are the Bondi Icebergs, which is a ocean pool. And this is probably Australia's most famous, I would say, and we actually go for a swim there a bit later. Looking out over the many bays and all the beautiful birds. It was quite a stunning walk, because what we did is we actually walked through to Bronte. It's about 1.5 k, 2k walk along the coast, and it was so windy. Look at this. Reminded us of being on the top of Mount Kosciuszko. It was so windy. Now this is Tamarama Bay, which Amanda hadn't actually been to before, so this was something new, and now we're at Bronte. So Amanda's mum grew up in this area, and there's also another ocean pool, not quite as big. Kids being kids, as they should. So despite the weather, a lot of people enjoying the water sports, and that's looking back over Bronte Bay. We hope you like our channel. We love bringing the content to you. How about you shout us a coffee? Link below. So we stopped at this cute little cafe for some breakfast. Now this is where Amanda's mum Anne grew up. Now not this actual house, the house has been demolished, but she used to live right here on the beach. So what a fantastic place to grow up. So it was pretty cool seeing that. And me being me, I can't go past a kid's playground without going down the slippery slide. It wasn't a very good one, I'll be honest. So here we are back at the Bondi Icebergs. So we had to do this. Amanda actually had to do some swim training. And I thought I might try some swim training up until I jumped in.
So I've wanted to swim in this pool, Bondi Icebergs pool, for a long time. I've been out of Sydney for like 13 years. So today's the day, and we've picked a miserable summer's day. So it's windy, it's cold for Sydney. But we're going in. There seems to be lots of people swimming. And luckily we can have a sauna after, so that'll warm us up.
Now here's me jumping in. Now the water apparently was 20 degrees, but that's a lie. It was much colder as far as I'm concerned. And I just lost my breath as soon as I hit that water. I just can't swim in cold water. I'm too weak for that. So all the swimming I did is pretty well what you see there. I got out, And here's Amanda, who knocks out 30 laps, so about 1,500 metres. So again, as I've always said, she's much tougher than me. And there's me, of course, being the endless child, trying to bomb my wife, which, by the way, you're not allowed to do in this pool. You must be done.
I've got one lap to go.
Okay. See you up there. Just bombed as I jumped in.
It's a bit numbing.
Now, what I did while Amanda was swimming was go into the sauna. There's a sauna here, and it was beautiful. So I spent about 40 minutes in the sauna, and Amanda stayed in the cold and swam. So this is her last 50 metres here, and there's my really bad attempt of a backward somersault. The wall was slippery, that's my excuse. So after swimming, we went into the main street of Bondi. It's got these really cool looking buildings. And onto our fourth public transport for the day, which is catching a bus back to Watson's Bay. Now here we are at Watson's Bay, and I assume all these dinghies are so people can get out to the yachts here. I just thought that looked really cool along the foreshore there. And time to feed the seagulls. So here comes the ferry. Back on the ferry we go and head back to Circular Quay in Sydney. I love the harbour. Every time we come here, I try to go out on a ferry on the harbour. And there's that bridge again that no one's ever heard of. And the cruise ships are back. They were gone for a couple of years. And here we are in Circular Quay. So just at Circular Quay were these markets, so we thought we'd better go in and check them out. Very Christmassy. Cool Christmas tree there. And this time we're onto a tram. So this is our 6th public transport. And we jump on the tram here at Circular Quay. We take it up George Street. And then we jump off it and we get on another tram heading back towards Glebe, which is where we stayed at Amanda's family's house. A bit of an afternoon snack. We ended up walking about 16k this day, so heaps of walking. And our final station for the day, Jubilee Park in Glebe. So there's our 7 sources of public transport in Sydney. Really, really fun day.
The next day we headed back into the city, and this time we took a different way and a different form of transport. We went on a little ferry which went from Glebe to Barangaroo. So it was just a short walk from my sisters down to the Glebe ferry. And this one was only a little one. And its only route is going from this ferry stop to Barangaroo and back again. So it goes under the Anzac Bridge, so that you can see there the old and the new Anzac Bridge. The little one used to be called the Glebe Island Bridge, and then when they built the new one, it became the Anzac Bridge. So getting off at Barangaroo, they've just redone all of this area, and that funky building there's the casino. And it's all been upgraded around there. It's really beautiful. So back through Circular Quay. And yesterday you saw a different ship there. So that happens regularly, that the ships just come and go. So one goes out at night and another one comes in the next morning. So Tim had never been inside the Opera House, so we decided today one of the things we wanted to do was go into the Opera House, and then we also wanted to see some Christmas trees. So up the stairs, and we found out you actually can't get into the Opera House unless there's an event on. There's only a little bit that you can get in. So that's my mum there, and she has lived in Sydney her whole life, so she's 86. So she's often telling us all the history of the different places. So Tim couldn't believe that the top of the Opera House is just everyday regular tiles. And then we walked around the outside of the Opera House, and you can see it here from the least photographed side. It's not quite as impressive from this end. Then we headed down to Martin Place and into this pretty spectacular tree. So those baubles were on display throughout the city in different parts, just to keep the theme going. You can just see the lights glistening on and off, so it looked pretty good at night too. And then we went into QVB, or the Queen Victoria building, and it was lit up pretty impressively as well. So they have a tree in the QVB, and it's, I don't know, quite a few, maybe 4 stories high. And each year they decorate it differently. It would be quite a feat to get this into the building and decorated. You can see it doesn't quite touch the ground, but you could hear those birds there. And there are the baubles in other trees through the city. And that's Sydney. Thanks for touristing with us.
You reckon I've heard it?
Let me do it again.
Thanks for touristing with us. Can you hear me?